It's a fear that lives quietly in the back of everyone's mind. Something we don't talk about much, but we all imagine from time to time. You're jolted awake in the dead of night. Something's off. Maybe it's the creak of a floorboard. Maybe it's the cold draft from a door that should have been closed. And then it hits you. Someone is inside your home. An intruder, a stranger who didn't come for your TV or your wallet, but with the intent to do you harm. It sounds like the setup to a horror movie, but for some, it's not fiction. It's real life. This story doesn't unfold in a big city or a high-crime neighborhood. It takes place in Chesterfield, Massachusetts, a quiet rural town tucked into the hills of Hampshire County. A place with fewer than 1,200 residents, where people still wave to each other on the street and some still leave their doors unlocked. Statistically, it's about as safe as it gets. But in December 2022, that sense of safety would be broken. Inside a home occupied by Brian Camp, his girlfriend, and their 2 young children, something terrifying happened. An unexpected confrontation, a shooting, and in the aftermath, a criminal charge that sparked one central question. In defending his home, did Brian Camp cross a line? Let's dive in. It was the kind of day New Englanders knew well, cold, overcast, and silent beneath a thick winter sky. On December 27, 2022, temperatures in Chesterfield, Massachusetts hovered in the upper 20s, although the warmth of the holiday season still lingered. Less than 48 hours had passed since the laughter of children filled the air as they unwrapped their Christmas presents. Inside a modest home in this quiet rural town, Brian Camp lay asleep beside his girlfriend, Brooke. The couple shared the house with their 2 young children who were sleeping in the next room. Although their relationship had been described as rocky, on again, off again, they were together for the holiday season, playing the part of a united family. But just after midnight, the calmness of the Christmas season would come to a violent and unexpected end. Brooke stirred first. She heard something, movement, a noise, and it sounded like it was coming from inside the house. She shook Brian awake, but he brushed it off and drifted back to sleep. Brooke, still uneasy, slipped out of bed to investigate. She cracked open the bedroom door, and that's when she saw him, an intruder standing in the hallway. She immediately screamed. Brian shot up in bed, but before he could even get to his feet, the intruder lunged. He was bigger than Brian, 3 inches taller, 50 pounds heavier, and had bad intentions, repeatedly telling Brian, "I'm gonna kill you." A brutal life-or-death struggle erupted in the darkness as Brooke frantically dialed for help.
Okay, they're upstairs in your house. Are you down there? Okay. I need, ma'am, I need you to take a deep breath so I can get this information from you, okay? They're already on their way out to you.
Brooke was hysterical on the phone, screaming, panicked, and virtually incomprehensible. The 911 dispatcher tried to gain control of the call, urging her to stay calm and provide critical information, but the chaos unfolding inside the house made that nearly impossible. For nearly 20 minutes, the 911 call was filled with static, shouting, and muffled commotion. It was difficult for the dispatcher to make sense of what was unfolding inside the home, but one thing was clear: something was terribly wrong. Meanwhile, the struggle between Brian and the intruder raged. Fists flew, furniture was overturned, and anything within reach became a weapon. Brooke stayed on the phone, her voice rising and falling in a blur of panic and desperation. At one point, Brooke grabbed a glass object and struck the intruder over the head, causing significant bleeding. That brief opening gave Brian enough time to escape to the kitchen. There, he retrieved a firearm and fired, The bullet struck the intruder in the abdomen, and the chaos inside the house came to a sudden stop. Within moments, Hampshire County deputies arrived on scene.
Where's your firearm? Don't touch it.
Yep, I know.
Get on the ground. On the ground. On the ground. Man, stand up towards me now. Come towards me. Come towards me. Right? Sit on the bench. Right in here on the push bar. Alright. Where's he at? I haven't touched him. We haven't gone inside yet. He's got a firearm in his pocket.
You know his first name?
One male party detained. One firearm detained.
Alright, what's the status of the female?
I have the female sitting on my push bar.
Okay, proceed.
Deputies secured the crime scene and began searching for the suspect, whom Brooke had identified as Jonathan Latimer, her former boss at a Dunkin' Donuts coffee shop.
So, found out there were 4 babies, squirrels, in her attic. Caught all of them. One of them didn't want to leave me. And there's another one. What are you gonna do? Josh, you got one too? Let's say hello. Say hello to the little squirrel. There's the 3rd one. 4th one doesn't want to be bothered. Oh, what? Hold on. We're getting somewhere.
According to investigators, Brooke told them she had briefly dated 27-year-old Jonathan Latimer in early 2022. It happened during one of her breakups with Brian, but the relationship didn't last. She ended things with Jonathan and reconciled shortly after with Brian. According to her, Jonathan did not take the breakup well at all. When deputies entered the home, they found Jonathan lying unresponsive on the kitchen floor. At that point, the couple's 2 children, just 4 and 2 years old, were removed from the home for their safety. Officers noted that Jonathan appeared to have sustained a gunshot wound to the abdomen. The bullet tore through vital organs, piercing his stomach, liver, and colon, and caused massive internal bleeding. They observed a second wound to the back of the head and, based on their visual inspection, were certain it was a second gunshot wound. However, as Brooke had admitted to striking Jonathan over the head with a glass object during the struggle, officers would rely on the autopsy and ballistic analysis for confirmation. Paramedics transported Jonathan to a nearby hospital. Despite their efforts, his injuries were too severe and he was pronounced dead shortly after arrival. Brian was also transported to the hospital, where doctors treated him for multiple fractures in his right hand, injuries sustained during the struggle. Once he was medically cleared, deputies brought him to the sheriff's office for questioning. Now, detectives faced a critical task: piecing together exactly what happened inside the home, determining how many shots were fired, and deciding whether Brian Camp had acted in lawful self-defense.
Just because I'm trying to paint a picture for myself here. You said, I think, correct me if I'm putting words in your mouth, that she tried to wake you up, saying she heard something, your girlfriend?
Oh, she definitely did wake me up.
Are you guys married?
No.
Okay, so girlfriend.
Yeah.
She woke you up, said she heard something, you didn't quite believe it.
Yeah. And then like 5 seconds later, she got up and peeked around the corner, because our bed's here, the wall for the stairway is here, and so she got up, peeked the 180 around the corner, and then screamed and hopped back in.
Okay. When you first encountered the male,
Mm-hmm.
did he have anything that you saw? Like bat, pipe, anything?
No, I didn't see anything. It was dark.
Okay. And so you get up and you immediately are in contact with them.
before I could even get like up out of bed, really, yeah.
Okay. And so he was bleeding badly when you were. So you got to fight. You got to start trying to choke him out.
Yeah, and then somehow, like I said, I heard something smash. I would assume it was the smash.
Okay.
Right, I heard glass smash, and then all of a sudden there's blood everywhere.
You know where he's bleeding from?
His head. Because I remember when I had him in a chokehold, he had a pretty good split in his head.
You know what that could have been.
Like I said, the smash.
You know what smash is.
I don't know. It must have been something glass. I don't know, a beer bottle or something. But we don't drink beer. I don't know what the hell it was.
Did you?
Like a light bulb or something. I don't fucking know.
Your hands broken. Were you throwing punches the entire time?
Oh hell yeah.
Okay. Was he throwing punches?
Oh hell yeah.
Okay. And you think you got off a shot, maybe two, and you're sure that when you went back into the house, no more gunfire. You didn't shoot again?
No.
There was no more physical altercation. You can get back up and another physical altercation took place, something like that?
No.
Okay.
Immediately after the interview, during which Brian admitted to firing 1 or 2 rounds and claimed the incident ended there, he was not arrested and no charges were filed. However, detectives still had unanswered questions and a full investigation remained ongoing. In the months that followed, investigators closely examined the 911 call, Brian's statement, the autopsy report, and a complete reconstruction of the crime scene. Then, a breakthrough. Audio analysis of the 911 call revealed a second round was fired roughly 8.5 minutes after the first, contradicting Brian's timeline and raising serious concerns. Investigators believed that the second shot wasn't part of the initial struggle, but rather a deliberate act fired after Jonathan was already incapacitated. That finding shifted the nature of the case. In June of 2023, months after the shooting, Brian Camp was indicted on manslaughter charges. Prosecutors believed that what began as self-defense had crossed the legal line and essentially ended in an execution. Still, many in legal circles, especially those in the defense community, were surprised that charges were filed at all against a homeowner who claimed he was defending his life and property. Good luck finding a jury of 12 that's willing to convict a man for protecting his home, some experts said. On November 19, 2024, 17 months after the indictment, opening statements began in the trial of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts versus Brian Camp.
From yesterday, you know a little bit about this case. You know that a gentleman named Jonathan Latimer broke into a home in Chesterfield, and you know that the defendant, Brian Camp, shot him to death. And when you heard that, let's be honest, a couple of you probably thought, well, why are we here? What's the crime there? You broke in, you got shot, you died. Sounds clean cut, doesn't it? Well, there's a lot more to this story. And this is my opportunity to fill in some of those details, and to tell you the complete story, and to tell you why we are here today, and why Mr. Camp is charged with manslaughter. Jonathan and Brian are inside the house, they're fighting. At one point, Brian has Jonathan down on the ground. And 7 minutes and 43 seconds into that call, as Brooke is describing, things have calmed down somewhat. Brooke's able to catch her breath. She's explained to the dispatcher who Jonathan is, how she knows Jonathan, how unfortunately she got involved with Jonathan. You hear the first shot in the background. Brooke hears it, dispatcher hears it. Brooke goes hysterical. Oh my God, I heard a gunshot. Now that gunshot is Brian Camp shooting Jonathan Latimer once in the midsection. Brian Camp lawfully owned a firearm. He will say later that he grabbed it off of some countertop or up above some cabinets. And he used it against Jonathan Latimer to defend himself. And we're not here today to debate the legality of that first shot. Okay, that first shot's good. That first shot is self-defense. We're not here about the first shot. That first shot goes into Jonathan Latimer's side. It breaks the 11th rib on his left side. It goes in and pierces his stomach. It pierces his colon. It pierces his liver. This is a hollow-tipped bullet. It's tearing through his torso Jonathan Latimer falls to the ground, grievously wounded. The medical examiner will tell you that he would have been in immense, immobilizing pain. He begins to bleed internally. By the time his autopsy is conducted, the medical examiner discovers and measures 750 milliliters of blood just inside his torso from the damage from that first shot. Jonathan is down. The threat has been neutralized. That shot was good. We're here today because of what happened in the next 8 minutes and 37 seconds. Once Jonathan Latimer is on the kitchen floor, grievously wounded and bleeding and moaning, Brian Camp catches his breath. He goes and gets some clothes on, first of all. He brings some things outside to Brooke Janik, where Brooke is. He goes back inside the house. The kids, meanwhile, are still upstairs in the bedroom. The kids don't get taken out. They're in the bedroom. And rather than go for the kids, Brian Camp goes for his phone. He finds his phone. He uses that phone to call his boss. They talk for a couple of minutes. The boss then texts him a couple of things. And then with the kids still upstairs and Brooke still outside and Jonathan Latimer still bleeding on the kitchen floor, Brian Camp walks over toward Jonathan with a cell phone, and he takes the last known picture of Jonathan Latimer alive on this earth. He photographs Jonathan Latimer literally dying in front of him. You'll see that picture. Jonathan is face down on the ground. He's holding the back of his head with his left hand. And about a minute and a half later, Brian Camp uses that same weapon with the same hollow tip bullets. He walks over to where Jonathan is lying. He shoots him in the head, killing him instantly.
In their opening statements, prosecutors laid out a disturbing timeline. They said Brian first fired in self-defense, but about 8 minutes later, he got dressed, took photos of the injured Jonathan, texted a colleague, and then, according to the state, fired a second shot into Jonathan's head while he was already down. The autopsy and crime scene findings confirmed 2 separate gunshot wounds, one to the torso and one to the head. The county medical examiner ruled the death a homicide. Toxicology results show that Jonathan had no drugs or alcohol in his system. Prosecutors concluded that the second shot was not necessary to neutralize a threat, but instead reflected a retaliatory act, not lawful self-defense. The defense had a different perspective. They argued that Brian acted in self-defense during a violent home invasion and that both gunshots, including the second, fired minutes later, were justified because the intruder remained a threat. To support their case, the defense called Brian Camp to the stand. He testified that after the shooting, he called a colleague from his work as a self-employed evidence collector. That colleague, he said, advised him to take photographs for his own documentation, and that's why he took 5 pictures at the scene. But the focus of the testimony soon turned to the second gunshot. Prosecutors questioned Brian about why he fired a second time and why he failed to mention it during his initial interview with police. Brian testified that after stepping outside briefly, he returned to the house and that's when he noticed Jonathan attempting to get up.
Now, it's your testimony today that Mr. Latimer sort of was pushing himself up off the floor with his hands.
Yes.
And would you say it was from roughly his waist up that he was able to lift his upper body off the floor?
His legs as well.
His legs as well? So
Yes.
was he doing? So was it like a push-up that he was doing?
Yes.
So he was able to maintain, like his legs were straight, his body was straight, and he was basically pushing himself up like a push-up.
Not a perfect push-up position. I believe from his knees down were still on the ground.
Okay. He never made it back up to his feet, did he?
No.
Did you consider running toward him and kicking him in the head?
No.
Did you consider reaching him down, picking up that shotgun barrel that he'd hit you with, and just smashing him across the back?
No.
Did you consider driving your knee into his back and holding him down?
No.
Did you consider stepping on his neck and applying pressure?
No.
Instead, you decided to put him down, right?
No.
Well, when you had your Sig Sauer out, you had a number of places on his body where you could have shot him at that point, correct?
I did not have time to choose where I was going to shoot him. I just shot at him.
And are you saying you just happened to hit him in the head?
Yes.
Weren't you standing over him when you shot him?
No.
How close would you say you were?
10 to 15 feet.
Okay. So let's say this barrel here is Mr. Latender, okay? Are you saying, actually just stop me when I get to the distance. First of all, was this your right hand now?
No.
You shot him the second time with your left hand,
Yes.
non-dominant hand.
Yes.
Stop me when I'm at the distance you were.
About there.
So for the record, I'm just past the jury rail. You're saying that from this distance with your non-dominant hand, you point to the 6 Sauer at Jonathan Latender and you hit him in the upper top back part of his head,
Yes.
which would mean his head was facing away from you, wasn't it?
No.
Help me understand this. How was his head?
His head was, once again, in a push-up position. Push up, head looking down at the ground, roughly where your hands are.
Yeah, so if you fired from that distance and that angle, you would have shot him in the left temple, wouldn't you?
No.
You'd agree with me that in the picture that you took of Jonathan Latender, let me pull it up again on the screen. Exhibit 68, I believe. You're saying that from this position, he started to do a push-up,
Yes.
and you were standing pretty much almost maybe where you took the photo from, correct?
Incorrect.
Oh, where were you?
I was in the other side of the dining room.
Oh, so you shot him from the dining room. Is this the first time you've ever said that?
No.
When did you say it before?
With meeting with my lawyer.
So you're saying that when you were speaking with the police for an hour and 8 minutes that morning, this is when you say you were having a hard time defining the 2 times I shot him.
Yes.
And at the time you were speaking with them at the barracks, your mind was just so jumbled that you couldn't remember standing 15 feet away from him and shooting him in the top of his head with your non-dominant hand? You had no memory of that?
Yes.
So you're saying that his eyes were looking down at the ground when you shot him?
Correct.
You told the police that you weren't sure if you'd shot Mr. Latender once or twice, correct?
Correct.
And that wasn't true, was it?
It is what I believed at the time.
You told police that if you did shoot him twice, it was in rapid succession. You remember that?
Yes.
And that wasn't true either, was it?
That is what I believed at the time.
So at the time you were speaking with police, you could not remember there being over an 8-minute gap between the time you shot him in the torso to the time you shot him in the head.
That's correct.
But you remembered everything else in between, didn't you? You remembered going upstairs to get clothes on, correct?
Correct.
You remember getting some shoes for Brooke and bringing them outside, correct?
Correct.
You told them that detail, am I right?
Yes.
You told the police that you called Brian Campanelli, correct?
Yes.
So all these other details in that 8-minute and 37-second span, you remembered.
Yes.
And when they asked you about the second shot, oh, suddenly jumbly, blurry memory?
Not suddenly, but yes.
The police specifically asked you if, when you went back into the house, you shot the gun a second time, correct?
Yes.
And you said you hadn't done that,
Correct.
and that wasn't true.
That is what I believed at the time.
So you believe that you hadn't shot twice?
I was unclear whether I had shot him once or twice, and I believed that if I did shoot him twice, that it was one event in rapid succession. That is what I believed at the time.
All right, so when you told the police that after the first shot, you would put the gun on the railing outside on the deck, that never happened, did it?
If it did, it was brief when I went outside for a few seconds and saw Brooke, and then I grabbed it when I went back inside.
Right, but when you told the police you left it there, that wasn't true.
It is what I believed at the time.
So did you invent that memory?
No.
You told the police that you did not go back into the kitchen to check on Mr. Latender, correct?
I did not go back into the kitchen.
My question is, you told the police, they asked you, did you go back inside the kitchen to check on Jonathan? Remember them asking you that?
Yes.
And you said you didn't.
Yes.
And you're saying technically you didn't because you stayed 15 feet away from him as you shot him?
In a separate room that was not the kitchen.
So you were parsing your answers? You had the mental clarity to parse your answers like that?
No.
You told the police that if you ever did something like he had done, you'd hope someone would put you down too, correct?
Yes.
So is that what you believe? You put him down?
No.
You didn't tell the police that after shooting Mr. Latender one time, you took photos of him, correct?
Correct.
Were you hiding that detail from the police?
No.
You told them that you'd used your phone to call Mr. Campanelli, correct?
Yes.
You didn't think it was relevant that you had taken a picture of dying Jonathan Latender with your phone?
No.
Why'd you hide that from them?
I did not hide that from them.
Did you think that you'd done something wrong by taking that picture and that's why you didn't want to tell the police?
No.
You never told the police that you shot Jonathan Latender in the head, did you?
I did not.
You never told the police that the two shots were minutes and minutes and minutes apart, did you?
I did not.
Toward the end of the interview, the police asked you if there was anything else you wanted to tell them, correct?
Correct.
Or anything else they hadn't asked you about, correct?
Correct.
This was another opportunity, another chance for you to step up and admit the second shot, correct?
Objection.
Sustained.
Did you take that opportunity to tell them about the second shot?
No.
Sitting here today, do you agree that instead of shooting him in the head, you could have run over and kicked him in the head?
Objection.
Sustained.
No.
You don't have to answer that question.
Oh.
It was sustained, so strike that answer.
Sorry.
Sitting here today, do you regret putting him down?
Objection.
Sustained.
Nothing further.
For several days, jurors listened intently as witnesses testified, experts dissected the evidence, and both sides laid out their cases. The prosecution argued that the second shot reflected intent. The defense countered that Camp acted in survival, reminding the jury that it was determined Jonathan had a knife and a pair of handcuffs on him. At the heart of it was a single question. Did Brian Camp act to protect his family, or had he crossed the line? After closing arguments and final instructions from the judge, the courtroom went silent as jurors began deliberating. After roughly 4 hours, they returned a verdict.
Yes.
Jurors, please remain standing. Defendant, please remain standing. All others may be seated. Thank you.
Pardon, may I inquire?
You may inquire.
Thank you. What say you, Madam Foreperson, as the jury agreed upon its verdict in Hampshire County Indictment 2380 CR 0032, Commonwealth versus Brian Keon?
Not guilty. Sorry.
Oh, you have agreed upon your verdict?
I have.
Yeah, that's okay. If you could please give the verdict slip to the court officer.
May inquire.
What say you, Madam Foreperson?